welcome to a very special and very urgent episode of Sweet Spots with Kris Rainwaters. I'm Kris, and today I'm not sitting down with them. I'm standing with Jannah and Mark. They are the organizers of Angel's Food Pantry and Community Cupboards in Vista. They are not a small business, so this is a little bit different than what I normally do, but we are in urgent need of some help. So for people that don't know what amazing things you do for this community, can you kind of just describe what you provide?
Sure. What we've been providing and what we continue to provide over the past year and a few months since the pandemic sort of hit home last March is an opportunity for folks without any really limitations or without any regulations to be able to come and get a meal and get food and be able to to carry on and to live through these tough times.
Yeah, I noticed you also provide, books and toys and things as well.
Right. Well, when the pandemic first started, my husband's an avid reader, and he thinks books were piling up after the libraries closed, and I wanted to help him with a little project, so we were going to build a neighborhood library.
Oh, cool.
We put a few shelves out here at the time to get that started, and people were on the Nextdoor app, and neighbors were really struggling for food. And the food pantries in town, do a certain thing. They don't really do what we do, and we're open 7 days a week. But it really grew. It was a community effort. The neighbors just started pitching in and adding food to it, and pretty soon somebody was bringing us cupboards, and we just organically grew with the help of this community. The reason we expanded to toys and besides the food after we did that was that there were so many people who were stuck in their apartments with their little kids.
Yeah.
They didn't have, we have a lot of apartments close to here. They didn't have a place to go to play with their kids. We were very strict on our rules, only one person in this whole area of the cupboard at a time. So sometimes people would come and they would spend 20 minutes letting their kids play and finding a toy, and pretty soon the neighbors started donating really wonderful toys and things for the children to find here. We always had a little treasure chest or little drawers that every time they came, they would get excited about what was in them. So that's how that grew into, for a while, and especially during the holidays, it was a huge part. We had over 600 toys donated from the local neighbors.
That's so amazing.
And we, I had to diligently make sure, that everybody didn't take all. I made records so that we knew that every toy of a family in need, every child got a toy. So those kind of things. It's Mark's been so helpful in getting donations and to helping run the cupboard and to do the stuff, but I'm the one who, every day, sometimes 10 hours a day, will work and make sure that things are being divided up, and I, fill the cupboard after every couple customers to make sure that there is always food here out of the stock, so that anyone can come at any time during the hours that we're open to find 3 meals a day if they want it. We usually have, a breakfast, lunch, and dinner option here, so that they can come and they can shop with dignity, or the elderly at the time that were afraid to go into stores, including myself, had a safe option to come where they could shop alone and they didn't have to wait in lines or go to a store. And, you never know what you're going to get here, but there's always pretty good quality things that we offer so that people can find what they need when they come to the cupboard.
That's amazing. And the community outreach has just been, phenomenal as far as everything. I mean, what has surprised you the most so far? I mean, is there something that just you went, whoa?
Well, two things surprised me a lot. One was the desperation of people in our community, and the stories of not just, young people who are maybe struggling on minimum wage, but people middle-aged or my age that lost their jobs and for the first time in their lives were embarrassed to have to ask for food. And this was a safe place that they could come and get that. And the good part so that was the bad part. The good part that surprised me is, one, how this community came together to, as a whole, support each other, and that the people who had enough wanted to share to help those that didn't have. And that was really touching. And then the friendships that were forged over this. I mean, I meet everyone who comes, and it's really has become a neighborhood outreach of, giving and taking, and people coming together to, be grateful for the abundance that there is in our country, and the food that goes to waste every day, that we're able to have people donate, not only people in the community, but other people where food would go to waste that are happy to gift to us.
Yeah. So that brings us to kind of the hard part, because, I mean, you guys are providing something that was so needed, and something that, something that our officials and our higher ups, it just wasn't giving us, and something that we needed. So what happened? What's going on right now? Kind of want to talk about, the circumstances that we're in.
I think in some ways, I guess the cupboard is sort of a victim of its success. It's been very popular. There has been a lot of folks visiting and dropping by and getting things that they need. And as Jannah said, she does spend some time with them. It's not just grab what you need and go. I mean, there's been a lot of friendships made, and there's been a lot of healing and a lot of bonds that have been made over the months.
Feeding the body, the soul, and the mind, not just the body.
Yeah.
So this week, a couple of days ago, we got a notice of violation from the city of Vista that we needed to clean up basically the debris and the trash and the stuff, is what they said, that it was just a mess. And it hasn't been a mess. It's been very orderly and very well taken care of, and we're very careful about what we look like, because we know it's a residential community, and we really want to be good neighbors, and also try and do this service to the community. So I had a conversation with the folks at City of Vista, and they weren't very nice about it. They basically said that we're in violation and everything's got to go, and there's no options, and it's too bad.
And they said that you're a business? Is that what they said?
Well, they made some comment about us operating like a business with the traffic and with the visits, and that wasn't okay, and that in addition to all the stuff that had to go, all the traffic and all of the hubbub was just too much, to handle. It's a complaint-driven system, as we, were advised. So clearly there is somebody who wasn't happy with what we were doing for the community, and that's the way they chose to object to it, rather than come to us and have that conversation. So once you get into that city system, of course,
right.
You're sort of in that mill of being sort of ground down.
Which is really sad, because as neighbors, most of all of our neighbors here, probably know who it is, but most of all of our neighbors here have been really, really supportive. And as neighbors, we always try to be good neighbors. And so it was really hurtful that whoever did this didn't come talk to us first. Didn't come try to get a solution, so that rather than complain to the city, try to get a solution so that we could continue to help people, but maybe tone it down, where when I have a big order, everybody doesn't show up at once, where I schedule them, or where we move it into the garage. But it seemed like whatever solution, since the city got involved, that we've tried to do, they've just said no. It is like they don't care about the people of Vista, and they don't want to work with us. They don't want to offer an alternative to providing food for people in need. And I'm not talking about the homeless. I'm talking about hardworking people who, on one or two incomes at minimum wage, can't feed their 3 or 4 kids. And that, I knew what it was like to be a single mom before I met my husband. And it's heartbreaking, when you can't eat because you have to feed your kid, and the stories that I hear. So, I really believe that I'm here to try to help people and try to make the world a better place. And for the last over a year, this has been the way to do it.
Yeah.
And it was very successful and very sad that it has to come to an end in this way. And we're still hoping that maybe, the city of Vista will reconsider and that we will find common ground and a way to move forward.
Well, I was going to say, we want to be good neighbors and we want to be good stewards of the property, and we like this neighborhood, and we want to do the right thing. There has to be a way to be able to do that and be able to continue to be of service. And the city and other folks in leadership positions have to be able to find a way to compromise to do that, because that's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do is to be able to help people and also be able to have some confines that you're able to work within. The answer just can't be no.
Right.
And that's unfortunately right now where the answer lies.
Especially now with so many families. I mean, depending on you guys.
Right.
I mean, obviously there was a need, and now, I mean, the scale that it is. I mean,
it's heartbreaking and also heartwarming, the number of people who come here and are so devastated in their life by what happened with COVID, or losing their jobs, or not being able to pay their bills, or losing their housing, or worried about those things. And it's also really heartwarming that, just like yesterday, a girl came back that was really struggling one day and had a baby, and I brought her into the store to where we keep our storage area because the baby was crying, so that I could help her and shop for her. And she came back yesterday and she was radiant, and she said, "I just wanted to tell you how much you changed my life that day, how much your caring about a stranger changed my life around, and I'm doing so much better now emotionally." There's been people here who are on the verge of suicide because of the circumstances. Somebody in our group, a woman, did lose her husband to suicide right before Thanksgiving because he had lost his job and was so depressed about not being able to take care of. So it's those kind of things that just tug at my heart. If we're not going to do it, and the city won't let us do it, then, maybe let's plead with the city to find a solution where they rent a place, where they have connections to all this excess food. We live in one of the richest countries still, supposedly, in the world, and the fact that we have so many people who are struggling to survive, who are struggling to eat, is just not okay with me. It's not okay. And the city of Vista and the people who run it, if they're that out of touch with what's going on in this community, it's really sad. They should hire somebody to do what we're doing, to offer alternatives of good, healthy food. There's so many people who want to donate, that things that aren't being given at the food banks. And also the food banks limit, you can come, once every 2 weeks or something, some of them, where we're open every day. We try to be open from 8 to 5, 8 to 6 sometimes at the most. And we do the best we can so that after meeting people the first time, we don't have to be out here to talk to them unless they ask. They can, people who are embarrassed can come shop and take what they need and go home and come back the next day if they need that.
I mean, it's important to know that the pandemic isn't over and the suffering isn't done. When we started, it was clearly desperate and it was obvious. And then it went on for so long that some people sort of forgot how desperate things were. And then the holidays hit and it was desperate again. And thanks to Jannah, those kids had toys and things to do.
And dinner.
And toys
lots
and
of
dinner.
Thanksgiving dinners. We did lots of those.
Lots of and now, once again, it's been going on for so long. The mask, requirements are loosening up, and the vaccine's out, so people are sort of thinking, well, it's over. And what we're seeing every day is it's absolutely not over.
Well, it's compounded and just gotten worse and worse and worse. I mean, this is the hopefully the bottom before we can start going up again. But
we hear those stories every day, and as Jannah said, there's an awful lot of people who have reached out to us and reached out to Jannah and have really been able to come through this because there is someone who can listen. And the food banks are great. They do a great job in that big commercial sort of way. A lot of canned foods, a lot of stuff that has preservatives, and a lot of things that will keep forever. And we try and do something a little bit different than that. And frankly, it's right here in our Vista community.
It's more accessible.
Some people don't have transportation. Some people can only get out once a week at 5 o'clock at night. The food banks aren't open, or on a Sunday. So
sometimes I make boxes so that people can pick up, or it can be delivered to them. I mean, we're
Well, and then, like you had said, the dignity and the embarrassment. You know, someone that doesn't necessarily feel that they could stand in line at a food bank
Correct.
can
And
come
give-
here under discretion.
And give your
and get what they need.
name and fill out a form and
Right.
only come once every 2 weeks and kind of go through that further indignity
Right.
of having to, kind of, I don't know, put yourself out there even further and be subject to that embarrassment, whether it's
Right.
real or not. The fact is, it is embarrassing to
Yeah.
have to do that. And
It is.
we're trying to do something different, as I've said.
and I just wish that the city of Vista would be brave enough to have to courageously support something like this.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of neighborhoods, not just here in Vista,
Yeah.
but in a lot of neighborhoods, people could benefit from, having this kind of cupboard. There are, again, so many people who have excess and who have the money and the ability to help others, and they really want to help.
Yeah.
And this is one
But look
way
what
that
happened.
This
with
is
the
one
guy.
way that they can.
Look at the way
Yeah.
that the little library movement kind of
Mhm.
happened, right? So why can't there be a little food cupboard movement
Yeah.
of the same type of thing that's universal? And people have talked to us and they've spurred us. They have said that we've spurred them on to be able to try and do something like that. But it takes a lot of work, and it's more than a full-time job.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we've been able to do it. I did the back end where we were finding the surplus and finding the connections, and then Jannah, like she said, is out here 8 or 10 hours a day, meeting people and keeping things nice and actually trying to once again feed the soul and the
And we
the
never
mind as
waste
well.
anything. We've got people who have animals to feed, so when the apples start to, maybe get a little soft or they're bruised, or the, bread that we have excess with it, I call one of them and within half an hour they're here to pick it up. There's never wasted food or rotting food sitting
Awesome.
around. It's like I'm really into recycling, and we've been very successful on every level of being able to do that, to recycle the things, and at the same time, besides offering food, offer a little bit of fun. We have an area over there that's the children's area, and they come and they love to see the bears and sit on them and get their pictures taken, and those are the things that really warm my heart. That is what community means to
Yeah.
me.
So, how can we contact you to support? I mean, do you have a Facebook or a website?
We have a Facebook page that a couple women, I'm not real good on computers, I'm good at doing what I'm doing with the cupboard, but that's somebody else's wheelhouse, and they're really great at it. And we were on the Buy Nothing Vista project for a while, and then in fact, I actually started this with a woman who was at the time the thing right after COVID hit. But I started it with her support. I ran it, but she was really into, at that time, the Buy Nothing project. If
Yeah.
you know about it, was about that. But they a few months ago had decided that we had outgrown that space and using it. So we these other women stepped forward from the group and said, we're going to do everything for you. You just got to post and do your own thing. We're not going to let this die. There's too many people in need. And so Nicole and Chelsea created this new webpage for us on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. So go ahead and send them a message via Facebook. Here is their handle on Facebook.
Which is Angels Food Pantry and Community Cupboards is where you can look it up on Facebook.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. We need to do everything that we can to support our community and to support those who need the support with dignity. So please do not hesitate. Reach out. You can contact me. Again, I'm Kris Rainwaters, Realtor with Corcoran Global Living and the Shishana Hogg group. My email is realtyh20@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Reach out to Jannah. Let's keep this going. Let's save it, and let's start some more throughout the community. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.